This is Talk Over Tea,
a place for a casual conversation about life in local government.
With Kassandra Gove
and Claudel Frederic,
elected officials from the city of Amesbury, Massachusetts.
Relax with us for a moment. The tea is hot.
All right, so how is your day going?
It's going well.
Yeah.
We are expecting snow, so everyone is it's a little frantic,
Yeah.
right? There's lots of conversations about what that means for us. The day before we're watching the forecast. People are making decisions about what's going to be open and closed. So it's been a bit of a frantic afternoon.
Yep.
And we're here not on our normal recording schedule.
No.
So usually we're here on a Friday afternoon. It's sort of like, whew, the end of the week. We come here, we get to enjoy a cup of tea together. And it's like late after a full day's work. And,
Yep. And it feels like
and
today
it is different.
it feels like today has been a long week. Like,
Seriously.
yeah.
You're not the first person to actually say something like that today.
Exactly. So
And,
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, we're not at the end of the week yet. So.
And I still have to get my salt. I still have to get bread, milk.
You're not ready for tomorrow. Okay. We should wrap this up so Claudel can get to the grocery store like the rest of you.
Get the milk.
And be prepared for the storm tomorrow.
it.
So we've had a lot of little storms this year. No big whoppers. No 8 to 10 inches.
Let's not focus on snow.
Okay. We just had
We don't like that. Yeah.
so, just another little blip tomorrow.
That's it.
That's all that's happening. So yeah. What
Let's
else?
talk about MMA.
MMA. That is where we
The
were
MMA
last week.
conference, yes. You
Yep.
just came from that. I didn't get to make it this year.
And everyone thinks MMA stands for mixed martial arts.
Yes.
That is not the conference I went to. It's the Massachusetts Municipal Association.
Yeah.
They have an annual conference that is fantastic. I love going. I've been for, I think this was probably my 6th year. You went last year.
Yep. I went last year.
Missed it this year, but we had another group of city councilors there. And we're going to tell everybody about it today, about MMA and what they do and the benefits that we gain from being members, how we engage in their programs, and what this conference was like.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, last year when I did go, I feel like as a new counselor last year when I went, there was so much information.
It was probably overwhelming.
it
As
was
a
a bit-
first-year
yeah,
counselor, and you
exactly.
just started in January, right? So it's the end of January every year.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
It was so much information. So many different rooms, different things going on as far as just resources everywhere.
Yes.
But I think my biggest thing about it was the opportunity to network with other leaders.
Yeah.
Whether they started the 2 years before me or if they're starting this year, what their thought process is, how they're going to go about things.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave me some reassurance. It's like, you're not the only one that's new. You know what I mean? So that part was really, really cool for me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a huge piece of the conference is networking. So MMA as a nonprofit organization represents all cities and towns. Their mission is sort of to be the voice of our cities and towns and to improve the effectiveness of local government. And they focus on things like public policy advocacy. They do a lot of membership education. A lot of those programs we're going to talk about. They do a lot of intergovernmental relations and things like that. So the people at this conference are from all of the cities and towns, and they could be in any position. So you probably connected with city councilors. There's other mayors there. There's also select board members. There's town managers. And then a lot of municipal staff come too, sort of depending on the topics for the year. One year there was a lot of HR, sort of like recruitment and retention. There was, really seemed like a real concentration of discussion about that.
Yeah.
One year there was a lot of housing discussion happening. This year there seemed to be a lot about electrification and EV transitions, and there's a lot of energy, a lot of solar companies. There was a lot of there was an EV alley with electric cars. There's a lot of that going on. So yeah, it's a little different every year, but you get all of these people in the same place. And there's a ton of networking that happens outside of the formal sessions, sort of beyond the keynote speakers. And it is what a lot of people really appreciate from that day, because everyone comes from all across the state to this one.
So I find it very interesting that you said that there was a lot of EV this year.
Yeah.
And last year, I remember the talk was actually a lot of housing. So going there, you kind of figure that there's a lot of state and federal insight on things. So
it's a little bit of reading the tea leaves.
Exactly. So it's kind of like right now they're talking a lot about, or a lot of EV was there. So we know that this is going to be a big thing coming forward.
Yeah.
And it already is a thing happening now, but there's going to be a big push. That's what it seems like to me.
It's a great observation.
Yeah.
And you could certainly, take that away from what we see there. So there's, we talked about, there's lots of sessions. We'll talk more about that, but there's a trade show floor that is, you said, there's resources everywhere, right? So that is one of the places that's like, it can be very overwhelming. I really love a trade show floor. I don't know how you feel about it, but I loved walking that floor.
It was cool.
It was cool. I make sure every year that I have time to walk that trade show floor.
Yeah.
So I spent 2 hours this year. They changed the schedule a little bit, and they opened the trade show floor on Thursday instead of Friday. So I went in on Thursday so that I could walk the trade show floor. I spent 2 hours so I can go to all of the vendors. It's really a well-known place to get some great swag from these vendors. You get to kind of actually learn, like, I didn't know I could put my logo on that, Today I have our City of Amesbury coffee sleeve. So we don't have a lot of things with our logo on them, but at this trade show, there's just swag galore.
Yeah.
One of the other big, sort of popular vendors, I will say, was the school bus camera company. So Massachusetts just passed us a law that we can put a camera on the stop arm of school buses and issue tickets remotely, basically, right? Like email or snail mail a ticket. I don't even know the details of it, but we can do a remote ticketing, traffic tickets. So two companies were there who have that stop arm camera system, and they were giving out squishy buses. And that was just, everyone was like, did you get your squishy bus?
Yeah. So I love that even happened, the whole thing with the school bus and the cameras, right? So then you leave the MMA conference as a person in leadership role, and you are filled with this energy and new ideas and like new things that you want to put forward. It's like for cities that are not really enforcing this, like they're probably going to be like, no, we need to be enforcing this now.
Yeah.
Like, so that's another thing. Like if you want to get fired up, like
this is the place to
definitely get fired up for sure. Like you come back with your energy, like I can do this. Like I'm about to change everything here.
Yes, it is very energizing.
Right.
It is. And the stop arm cameras actually are something we've been talking about in Amesbury. Before the bill was passed at the State House, a few communities were running pilot programs to collect the data and the video footage to show and demonstrate how much of a problem this is. So we were intending to get in on the pilot program, and then we found out that the law was passed. So we are actually now working on, deciphering what we need to do at a local level to be able to take on this camera system.
Right.
And our school bus vendor, which is a third-party vendor, has already said they would love to have it. They welcome adding the cameras to their buses. So we are talking about that locally, and that was a stop I made. And I said, I need to follow up with you. We are going to need to be in touch. And I got their contact information, and then we come back with just
now
lots of resources.
Right? So these resources too, it's like obviously a lot of the ideas that come from it are great ideas, but sometimes there becomes a funding issue, right?
Yep.
But I think at the MMA, there's also different creative ways to figure out funding.
Always.
So you're going to come across another city that did the same thing. That's, well, here's how we got our funding for this.
Yep.
And that's a great takeaway, you know what I mean? Because that could be a big issue, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great ideas, but like, okay, how are we going to pay for this? You know?
Yeah, and on that trade show floor, there is typically a representation from the state offices, and sometimes includes folks who facilitate grant programs. So they are there to answer those questions too. And one of the sessions I go to every year is the fiscal and economic outlook, and get to see the folks from DLS and DOR at the state level, and make sure I say hello to them, and we learn about what's going on in their world and take that information back with us too. So really important conduit for us to be at this conference and connect, with state officials who are there.
I think that's a great way to put it, because at the end of the day, they could actually put a lot of faces to the names. Like you are a brand of the city. So if you're nowhere to be found, then not to say they would ignore you, but like, I feel like if I remember your face, your name in the city, when I get an email or a call from you, I am probably going to pick up your call or return your call or get to whatever that is quicker. Yeah. So I think that's a great, just kind of showing up to those things and showing out.
Yeah, I mean, it does help with relationship building, which we've
100%.
said over and over again is so important to our success. And it is a great opportunity to have that interaction with state officials. The governor comes, lieutenant governor comes. Typically, we have our congressional delegation there as well. They were busy this year, but we do get an opportunity to come together with people who, even if it's just folks at the State House, they don't get out to everybody's cities and towns, right? And a lot of times it's emails. So that is a great perk of the conference.
What would you say was the best session that you attended this year?
I loved the keynotes this year. Okay. There were 2 keynote sessions. The first one was Mr. Sunil, I'm going to say Gupta. It's Gupta. And you can go on his website, and he actually has some YouTube videos out there. I was just checking it out. So I think you can actually watch some of what we got to experience. Yeah. And he talked about finding your spark again. It was sort of a different take on how to like fill your cup and take care of yourself and balance, but really based in energy and in sort of, he had good data about how people, right now are talking about, how often they're overwhelmed, how, there's a lot of executives saying that they're thinking about leaving their job in the next 12 months. Like there's a lot of people that are like really, in general, we're just really drained. And how the energy you bring to the room, the energy you bring to your day, that really impacts so many things. So it was about finding your spark again. It was really, he had great stories. He had great anecdotes.
Let's not ignore that, because I think there's a reason why he was there, right? Talking about
to all the municipal officials.
Yeah, literally, because you could show up there pretty drained. The work that we do, it takes a lot out of your cup sometimes, right? So I'm sure he was very much needed in that space. Yeah, he has a book out too, and I'm gonna forget the name of it, but he did like a book signing after. I would highly recommend looking him up. It's Sunil Gupta. And I actually brought with me, because I knew we were gonna talk about this. He gave us all a handout. So this was interesting. It's the first time I've seen people do this, but when the presentation was over, everyone's question is, are we gonna get the slides? So they didn't give us, both of the keynotes did this. They put up a QR code, and when you scanned it, it went to their website, which was very smart of them. But then you filled out a form, also very smart of them. And we got back this sort of summary, like a key takeaways document. So they didn't give up their slides, but you got the information that was really the, sort of at the core of it. Yeah. So I'm not going to give away all of his information, but his 3 habits, this is what he presented on, tools and habits. The first one is practice rhythmic renewal. So sort of experience that rest and reward rhythm and find ways to do that. Habit number 2 was builders, not buyers. And I think we've talked a lot about this. It just all resonated so much with what we do.
So this was about how to get people involved in the creative process in finding the solution, and not just sort of delivering it. But the best example he gave, ways to achieve this. The first one is the IKEA effect, and he talks about all the research and the background behind IKEA and the fact that you have to assemble your own furniture, but that people feel a different sense of pride when they've built it themselves.
Yeah.
So again, builders, not buyers. And the last one was switch the spotlight, that we, when we make it about ourselves, every setback depletes our energy. And when we come from a place of service, we move forward with a greater sense of purpose and persevere through the inevitable discomfort. So taking that spotlight away from ourselves. It's not about us.
Wow, check yourself, guys.
So that was really good. I loved that one. And the other keynote speaker that we had was Matt Lehrman, and he talked about from conflict to conversation. Again, I mean, they just really nailed it with the program.
I like that topic, conflict to conversation.
Conflict to conversation.
Wow. Could you give me any highlight from that one? I'm intrigued by that one.
I will say I couldn't find the summary that he gave, but there's when you go to his website, it has the sort of topics you could hire him to speak about, and this was his little summary about it. So I have that, but there are also Matt also has he also has YouTube videos out there, so you can go out and watch and learn from Matt. And I think he actually has they probably both do, but I know Matt has a podcast.
What was Matt's last name?
Lehrman.
Lehrman.
Yep.
Okay.
Leh.
Matt Lehrman.
Let me look. I brought all my notes. Lehrman. Lehrman. So his, he talked a lot about incivility and where we are today with conflict and civic disagreement and, what that means for us as municipal leaders, and talked about how we have sort of a shared responsibility to address these challenges through purpose, respect, and empathy. His key takeaways were to master courageous conversations, approach topics with empathy, confidence, and purpose, to build unity amid division, learn practical strategies to connect diverse groups and foster collaboration. The next one was navigate conflict with emotional intentionality, transferring anger and resistance into trust and cooperation. We've talked a lot about trust. Lead beyond binary choices, inspire innovation and solutions that transcend polarization, which is...
Go, Matt.
Seriously. And the last one was to strengthen engagement in the digital age and why a meaningful dialogue and connection happen beyond social media, which is also something we've talked about.
Exactly.
So they were both really great. I loved those. There were so many sessions. So I bring some city staff. We have city councilors who come too. And we do a little bit of a divide and conquer so that we can go to as many sessions as possible. And then we're actually I'm going to try to get everybody back together to sort of share notes and really maximize the benefit of our attendance.
Right.
Like you said, there's so much going on. They actually have a lot happening at the same time, not just sessions, but they'll also have, the book signing with the keynote speaker will be happening as the next session is happening.
Right.
So you really got to decide what you want to spend your time doing. It's hard.
One person can't go and bring all the resources back home.
No. So I'll just read for you some of the topics that I know we had highlighted and wanted to learn more about. I went to the Fiscal and Economic Outlook. There was one about organizational succession planning, which piqued our interest because we often talk about how all of our staff are really one of one. And so when that person leaves, retires, moves up in their department, there's no the succession planning is really hard, right? There's really not a bench there of someone else who can make up for that work. And when the new person comes in to fill that position, the last person is gone. So the training is by people who aren't really experts in that area. It can make it really hard. So succession planning, I think, for a lot of cities and towns is challenging. Sparking success with municipal internship programs. We would love to get more interns into our city offices and really help with that that pipeline for the workforce. There was one about accelerating housing production while addressing roadblocks. We've talked about that before. Planning for capital investments, which is always important. I'd love to always, learn what I can from folks who have really good capital plans and have been successful. What is driving the cost of public education? Building trust in local government through communications. And we just talked about exactly that. I saw that and I thought, oh my gosh, they read my mind. There was one about AI and how to use it, how to make it your partner in local government. A lot of us are afraid of AI. And raising revenue. I had a friend that was presenting on that panel. So we talked about more sort of revenue challenges and meeting capital needs. So there was that is just a small portion of everything that was available. There was so much there. So we learn a lot by going to this conference. It's called Connect 351. There's 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. They're all members of MMA. And again, so many people come to this conference. And we learned so much from each other and from the sessions.
Let's talk about this 351 cities that go to this conference, right? Towns and cities that go to this conference. And this was a big year for you, for Amesbury.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Please.
So the big announcement this year was that I was at the conference. There was actually an annual meeting that happens, and I was elected to serve as vice president of the board for MMA.
What does that
association.
mean?
So, so as a nonprofit, they have a board, and there's a president and a vice president, and there's lots of other positions there as well. And then, so I was elected to serve as vice president. It is actually part of a succession plan that they have. They have a really nice strategy where you get invited and you can sort of asked if you'd be willing to accept a nomination. So I was able to watch what the current VP was doing this year to see what that was like. I got a little more behind the scenes than normal. And now I will go to board meetings. So it really means more meetings. That's what that means. But it really elevates Amesbury's reputation. It really raises the bar for us. People who don't know who we are, don't know where we are, don't know what Amesbury is about, are going to hear about Amesbury. It certainly puts our name in new conversations and new platforms. And I'm in a position to learn this year. My goal is to listen, to watch what the president is doing. Again, sort of succession plan is that once you've been vice president, you're a highly likely candidate for president the following year. So
that's huge. So that means 2026.
Yes.
You will be the president.
If everything goes well. Yeah. If I don't do anything crazy between if I stay on the rails. Yeah. So yes, that it would be the expectation is that at this conference next year, I would be elected into the president position.
So being a VP or even a president of this conference, you're more involved in the organization of the conference or the layouts of the conference?
That's a good question. So the conference is just one of the things that MMA does. They have different associations for the different sort of professions and professions, but sort of areas of expertise and roles in local government. So there's an association for human resources professionals. This is municipal human resources. There's an association for communications professionals. There's one for mayors, one for managers, one for city councilors. There's one for select boards. So, and all of those groups have their own boards, and then they have representatives on the board of MMA as a whole, as an umbrella organization. So I'm the vice president of the larger board of the whole. I have a seat on the Mayor's Association this year. I'm representing our district. So I look forward to learning more about that as well. So that's another meeting that I'll be attending, is the Mayor's Association. And So I'll be more involved be attending those meetings. I think probably more involved on the legislative and policy advocacy side of things. But they run webinars and trainings, and they have conferences and meetings for all of those little, all those other groups. And then this is Connect 351 is the big conference. So I don't expect to have any sort of planning responsibilities or engagement in the events and webinars that they have. But again, as a sort of representative of the association at the State House, that is probably more likely where I'd be more visible.
Right.
But all these other programs they offer are fantastic. I mean, there's always something happening. Like once a week, probably there's a webinar or something we could go to. I'm going to one next week.
Sounds like a ton of opportunities.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're in a little bit of everybody's sauce. So I don't see a downside to it.
Yeah. It's really exciting for Amesbury.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I think, it's like a teacher in a classroom where the teacher has to learn 20 kids' names, but they all know who the teacher is because there's only one of them. So, that's certainly, we wear that, sort of as a mayor or counselor. There's so few of us, but everyone knows who we are. And now this puts Amesbury at a level where all 351 cities and towns and their municipal leaders will know Amesbury.
Absolutely, yeah.
I probably have to learn a few more names, but but I think that's really exciting. Before I even left the conference this year, I had people stopping me asking where Amesbury was. And so it's just a huge opportunity for us to invite people to our community, tell them about us, and put us again on a just raise the bar for us.
Looking forward to see new faces. In Amesbury, definitely. That's awesome.
Yes,
That
we just got contacted today. They wanted to have a training and a meeting at our city hall, so we're booking a legislative breakfast for them. DLS is coming to town and doing a finance training at our technology park.
Nice.
So I've been able to connect them with public spaces they can use, and we've already gotten that training for DLS is they filled the room. There's 35 people coming from this whole region.
It's good to know that we have state and who knows, like on the federal level, like people honing in on Amesbury, like putting foot to the ground. So it's like if we're asking for help, they understand what we're asking for help for. They know it's not just out of vain. It's not, you know what I mean? Like you see what's going on, kind of like, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Like come to Amesbury, come see what's up. Like, we're making it great, but we definitely need you to see what we need help with too. So it's,
so,
like you
I'll
said,
be doing
great
official
for
work for
Amesbury.
MMA. Again, there's a new meeting or two hitting my calendar, but so much value in that time for the city. There's always the meeting before the meeting after the meeting, right? If I have to be in Boston, there's always chit chat that happens where people learn about what's going on in our community, what we need, what our priority is. And I'll have the opportunity to engage in those conversations regularly this year.
Is awesome.
So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
definitely.
I'm very honored to serve in a leadership role among so many leaders.
Right.
When we had to be on stage at the annual meeting, and I was watching the current president run the meeting. I mean, we run public meetings like every day. And I thought this has got to be the most high pressure public meeting for him to run, opening the floor for motions, taking seconds, amending something on the floor. And I thought, all right, I have 2 years to get ready for that, but you're in a room full of people who run public meetings.
You're right.
It gives me chest pains just talking about it. Like,
what city?
So intimidating.
What city was the current president? What city are they from?
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember?
I think the president was Waltham. I think he was a city
councilor, right?
City councilor in Waltham.
At one point,
And the president who just took the position starting at the conference is Jamie Helen. He is in Franklin. He's the town manager in Franklin. So it rotates between presidency and these positions. They try to keep a variety of people in those positions. So, I'm a mayor, so the next one won't be a mayor. The current one is a town manager, and it'll be a city councilor, it'll be a select board member, a mayor, or a manager. So, that's good too, right? Different perspectives and representation.
Awesome. I love it. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
so
wow.
that was a big announcement at the conference.
Yeah.
And again, Connect 351, we brought a lot of people down. Some communities bring way more, staff and counselors down. But we had a strong representation, and it's a big piece of what we do. So we thought we'd talk about it on the podcast so folks know, where do we get our professional development? I mentioned municipal human resources being its own group. You can be a human resource professional and have gone to school, and gotten the credentials that you need, but no one really talks about municipal human resources or municipal finance. You might be an accountant, but municipal finance is like its own world. Same with communications, right? So this is just a really important organization for us to be part of and to engage in their activities and programs or webinars, and we learn so much. So shout out to the counselors who made it and who have been before. It's a great opportunity for you to represent Amesbury and for us to bring back so much information for our community.
And what's the website? Is it MMA.org?
I feel like that could bring you to mixed martial arts, so I don't know.
I don't
know what
remember
it is.
either, but
I should know it off the top of my head, but
people could
look for
Google.
Mass Municipal Association.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can learn again lots more about what they do. But coming off of Connect 351 for all of us is, I come back in my head is so full with all these ideas and all of this energy. And it does take us a little bit to actually sort of unwind and get back. It's so much, and it's crammed full from morning to night. And there's just a lot going on. So we have to come back and settle back in.
I'll be watching some of the webinars.
Because
they do have them recorded. So that's perfect.
That's right. They have a library. So if we can't make any of these webinars, they record them, put them in a library for us. So the next one coming up, which I know there's people from Amesbury participating in, it's a Citizens Academy conversation, which is about how to get more people engaged and learning about how to run for office and hold these positions. So I know
awesome.
We're really interested in that.
Definitely.
And always really great conversation. So hopefully this was interesting to some of you out there listening to hear about how we spend our time and where we get to learn more and grow professionally and even personally in our position. So thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening again.
And we'll be back with another Talk Over Tea soon.
All right. Cheers.